point of discussion is maybe there are 100 different technological resources available at institute level. It is the aptitude and attitude of the faculty that how they want to integrate those technological resources or different media platforms in teaching learning. So one teaching approach in which it is possible for us to use offline as well as online teaching environment simultaneously with our student is a blended learning. So in this particular session, we are going to cover this type of teaching strategy with all of you. So before I start my discussion on the topic assigned to me, that is blended learning, I want all the candidates to involve in one activity. So my simple question to all of you is that you need to answer to me that do you feel any digital pressure in your classrooms? So when I'm saying that digital pressure in classroom means the use of technology, integration of technology, students are using technology a lot, but as a faculty, you stick to your chalk and board method. So if as a teacher you are using a digital pressure, what are the various strategies adopted by you to overcome this? And if not, so if as a teacher you are digitally fluent enough, you are not feeling any kind of a digital pressure, what are the different ways to inline offline as well as online teaching by you? So kindly take 5 to 7 minutes to think upon this particular activity. If you're feeling digital pressure, what are the different ways adopted by you to overcome this? If you're not feeling any digital pressure, how you are managing between offline and online learning environment? So I hope the activity is clear to all the members.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, any faculty ready with the answer? Any faculty member who would like to share his or her experiences with us? You are requested to kindly unmute and ask. So my simple question to all of you is, do you feel any kind of digital pressure as a faculty in your classroom? Parul Chavla ma'am said her attitude with situation is, if no, now I do. Let me check it again. Yes, any member ready with the response for this particular activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly read the statement before writing in the chat box. Any member from the group? We have 194 members connected with us.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
मैम जो एक्टिविटी जो डिजिटल प्रेशर है ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन, जो ऑनलाइन क्लासेस का मेथड था, जो वो बिल्कुल हमारे लिए न्यू था, न्यू कंसेप्ट था। पहले वही लेक्चर जो हम लेते थे बोर्ड के ऊपर बच्चों के सामने, उनको इंटरेक्ट करके जो भी हम प्रिपेयर करके आते थे उनके लिए जो भी है हम डिलीवर करते थे। बट जो ऑनलाइन कंसेप्ट था वो बिल्कुल न्यू था हमारे लिए भी, बच्चों के लिए भी, कि कैसे गूगल मीट पे जूम मीटिंग पे हम उनको क्लासेस देंगे, कैसे हम उनको असाइनमेंट प्रोवाइड करवाएंगे, कैसे क्विज असाइनमेंट लेंगे। पर धीरे धीरे पहले उसके लिए प्रिपेयर हमने खुद किया, कैसे गूगल मीट को आपने यूज़ करना है, कैसे कंट्रोल करना है, कैसे अटेंडेंस मार्क करनी है, कैसे बच्चों को शेयर करना है लिंक। तो इस टाइप का जो था वो डिजिटल, क्योंकि हमारे लिए भी ये न्यू कंसेप्ट था एक टाइप का।
Thank you very much, sir, for your response. Any another member ready with the response? Kindly unmute.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Abhilash here from SRMIST.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, during the pandemic, when we were taking online classes, it was a very, that means the pressure was very high because for the numerical subjects, it was very tough to explain the numeric values or the solve the numeric questions for the students on the laptop. So to overcome this, we find out some other methods. That means some whiteboard available online and some other methods like some electronic devices which were available, and we use that one.
Hello,
Thank you very
ma'am.
much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, whenever we are using the online mode, one pressure I am just I think it is a very general thing that the response from the student side, how much they are actually attentively understanding the thing, that is always a challenge, that whatever content they are able to grasp or not grasp, and taking the responses from their side. So that is a big challenge for us. And for that thing, whatever remedy I am using, that in between sometime one line question, one line quiz, or some motivational thing that if you are answering with some bonus mark will be given, or sometime we are using this thing. But yes, this is a difficult to get the response and attention from the student side.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So, any faculty who's
Yes.
not facing any digital pressure?
Yes, ma'am. Aparna ma'am was very right, and same thing you were asking again and again that please response, but no one was ready with the answers. In the offline classes, we can see the faces of the student whether he or she is understanding the concept or not. But in online learning, it is very difficult. So Aparna ma'am's point is very correct.
Thank you very much, sir. So, any member who's not facing any digital pressure? One thing is the students are not responding, but my question to all the members related to the digital pressure due to the use of technology that you're using in classrooms. Any faculty member who is well trained when it comes to the use, selection, and integration of technology?
Yes, ma'am. We are very much using right now the e-techniques for the e-learning. Currently, we don't have so much pressure over there, but in the earlier time, it was a great pressure for us, especially those for engaging the students. When we try to give the lecture in online mode and the students were not completely engaged in that, then it is very tedious to arrange the students and make them active. For this, we try to make several activities integrated for these several techniques learned from several PPs, STCs, and thereafter we have find that because of the activity and project-based oriented e-learning courses, and the students are very much active and interactive in the sessions, and right now we don't feel so much pressure. But because of very much advances in the techniques, we are still learning because the students are more active and they learn more things. Before we going to mute them, they have the activity to mute the teacher itself. So it is our duty to learn and make them updated according to the new techniques. And I feel if we are updated with the techniques, then there is no digital pressure. Otherwise, lack of the updation may create some pressure in the classroom as a digital pressure.
May I know your good name, sir?
Yeah, this is Dr. Susil.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sushil, sir.
Yes.
So very rightly added by sir, and many of the participants said during pandemic when the use of technology was very new for all of us, we were feeling a digital pressure. One thing that we overcome after that is we are in the habit of using technology nowadays. So we are either the peer taught or we are self taught faculty members when it comes to the integration of technology in teaching learning. So from this particular discussion, it comes out as that when the available with the faculty in terms of uses or selection of the technological resources, we as a faculty able to cope up with the digital pressure that we are in a classroom environment. If you are not facing any kind of a digital pressure in classroom environment, in that particular case, it is possible for you to have a balance between offline and online teaching environment. Like Abhilash sir said, they need to find out some of the whiteboard facilities that are available online to solve numerical problems for the student. And when it comes to the use of these kind of resources, some of the concept that we want our student to cover in the presence of us as a faculty. So that is a more easiest approach when it comes to the development of fundamental aspects related to any subject. So whenever there is a digital training at the part of the faculty is required along with the infrastructure resources, and at the same time the teacher need to analyze that what portion of the syllabus to cover by using the physical classroom environment and what portion of the syllabus I can give a taste or I can give a systematic experience to my student, that how we are going to online learning environment, because that is going to be the future of our education. So in blended learning technique, it is possible for us to provide both kind of experience student. But when it comes to the use of blended mode of learning, we need to have matured learners at institute level. So whatever teaching method, whatever teaching strategy is being selected by you, it totally dependent upon the level of the students available in your class. While sitting in this particular class, I will not say that flipped classroom is not a good teaching approach. Blended learning is a good teaching method. Lecture method is not a good teaching approach, whereas blended learning and flipped classroom is a very good teaching methodology. Totally dependent upon the conditions. It is totally dependent upon your management, classroom management practices, that how you are introducing that teaching strategy and what is your learning objective that you have designed out of that particular curriculum. So depending upon that, you are going to select technology or you are going to select instructional method and media for your student. Yes, blended learning provide you a platform where you can give both kind of experiences to the student. If you think that your students are not responding in online classes, so maybe you can shift in percentages few of the offline classes and few of the online classes. So come to our topic, that is blended learning. So it is a very famous saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. So my purpose of showing this slide to all of you is that we all know that universities are, we are not new. So as a faculty, as a department, as an institute, as a university, we are not new when it comes to the use of ICT resources. It is not that during pandemic only we were using the technological resources. At NITTTR Chandigarh, we started offering online training programs to the faculty back in the year 2012, and most of the faculty members even before the pandemic also they are integrating technology in teaching learning activities, maybe in the form of recorded lecture, maybe in the form of recorded video. We were earlier also creating Google forms and giving it to our student, but yes, after pandemic and as per the new education policy 20, there is increased use of technology in many institutions. Excuse me. So but before introducing technology in teaching learning resources, we need to understand that in education where we are heading, why there is a demand of integration of technology in teaching learning activities. So whenever the institute is going to buy any kind of resource for the its students, any kind of technology integration is desirable by the institute, the management and head of the institutions need to think upon. The first thing that we need to do is map all kind of existing resources available with you. So when I'm saying map all kind of existing resources available with you, it is not only the infrastructure facilities available in institute. Maybe you can collaborate with nearby institutions, or maybe you can check the various platforms that are available and offering online education to the student. So first thing at institute level that we need to do is map all kind of resources that are available with you and the resources that are approachable. And second thing that we need to understand, we need to blend all those resources. Is it an offline education that is more fruitful for my students, for my subject, or online classes can do one? That need to be analyzed at departmental level before introducing any technology, before buying any new fancy technological resource at institute level. So if at institute level, so when I'm saying in education where we are heading, so if at institute level the answer is yes, it means if you are going to buy a technology, going to integrate technology in teaching learning activities, it means the faculty members of your department and students of your institute need to work a lot. When I'm saying need to work a lot, say for example, you given an online quiz to your class student, the student need to process information while sitting in the class only, and they need to give response to the faculty at that time only, because you have selected response acceptance time, maybe 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes. It means the student need to be vigilant enough while sitting in an online class. When I'm saying the teacher is designing that particular quiz, if the quiz questions are available online freely for the student, it is very easy for every student of your class to score 30 out of 30 or 20 out of 20 just by copy pasting the information. If resources are available with the faculty, at the same point the resources are also available with the student. So if these kind of quizzes designed by the faculty, that is of no use, the teacher is not able to analyze, the teacher is not able to judge that whether my students are able to understand that information or not. So it means in education, the first thing that we need to understand is if there is integration of technology in any of the subject, in any of the activity, the faculty member as well as the students need to perform many of the activities simultaneously. If the teachers are not trained as compared to the student population, our population, when it comes to the use of technology, we need some sort of a training to understand that how we are going to utilize that resource. So if the institute is going to buy those resources or integrating the technology, it means we need to train our faculty members also when it comes to the utilization of the technology. So at institute level, just by buying the resources or integrating bits and pieces in terms of technology, or by in private universities, they are creating very huge attractive spaces where they consider as the creative spaces or the idea generation spaces. Just by creating a physical infrastructure doesn't mean that ideas are going to float at institute level. It is the environment that is created by the faculty for the creation of an idea. So if at institute level we are going to buy resources, ultimately it is the pressure on the faculty to adopt those changes, and they need to make full utilization of those resources. So first thing in education that we need to understand is, in education, if we are going to integrate technology, the professional training at the part of the faculty is must. The faculty need to be very clear that they are going to have extra input given the students, and it is the pressure by the management to use all kind of technological resources that is specifically uh, consider important for education. The second aspect that we need to understand, as from the perspective of education in the future to come, as per the new education policy 2020, it is clearly written that appropriate integration of technology in all levels of education. So after the implementation of NEP 2020, when the primary school system is working on integration of technology, in the years to come, the student who enrolled in higher educational institutions, those students are well versed in terms of uses of the technology. So they are more interest. They felt more interested. They felt more engaged in terms of diversity when the teacher is going to add in a classroom environment. And when the student come prepared with the uses of the technology, student have access to information. In that particular case, it is advisable for the faculty members, to the faculty members also, to prepare and develop the resources by utilizing technology available. Improve teaching, learning and evaluation processes. So you need to have understanding of all kind of pedagogical aspects. As per that pedagogical training, you need to design the content of the course, you need to design assessment activities, you need to design evaluation practices for the student. You also need to understand that if there are variety of learners available in my class, there may be different learning needs. So what are the different variety of conditions that I'm going to give to my students? So that understanding also need to be there. Enhance educational access to the most disadvantages groups. So say infrastructure facilities available at institute level. So in the course of online learning and evaluation, we have filled one questionnaire yesterday where 78.2% of the faculty members said that 24 into 7 infrastructure internet facility available at institute level. So those facilities are available at institute level, but when we are giving some activities, some assignments to our students, maybe those set of student or few of the students in your class do not have access to internet facility at their own personal space. So what is the second approach adopted by that particular teacher, so that those students also get benefit out of that activity? So is the teacher is going to provide a printed material to those students? If not, how those students are going to complete those activities online? And when we are integrating technology in all levels of education, streamline the education planning, administration and management activities. So from is very much clear to us that even if the administration of the institute or university adopt this new innovation in terms of integration of technology or in of various social media platforms, it by the management or by the senior members need not to assume that faculty and students are going to fully utilize it. The first thing that we need to evaluate at institute level, that if we have resources available, is there maximum utilization of those resources by all the faculty members and the student? And if the faculty members have a little choice in terms of using those resources or not using those resources, what are strategies adopted by the management by which the faculty members become trained to use those resources? So keeping this in mind, whenever or the authorities are pressurizing that the technology must be integrated at institute level, then another thing that we need to understand is what is the impact of use of that technology on student performance. So somewhere when you are giving MOOC courses to your students to go through, or you are offering online courses, based courses to your student, you need to have a research study related to impact of that learning, of that online learning environment from on the student. So that provide us a clear picture that after integration technology or before integrating the technology, what are the different changes or how the student population is integration of technology and that impacting their teaching learning activities. Another important thing that we need to understand here is when it comes to of the technology, what kind of learning experiences you want to give to your student. So as a teacher, when I'm designing an online platform course for my student, or maybe simply I'm using a Google Classroom, why I'm selecting a Google Classroom? Is it the only technological platform available with me? And another choice. If I'm creating a WhatsApp group for my class student, what are the information that I'm going to transfer with the help of that WhatsApp group, or it is rules or policies that I have defined for that WhatsApp group. And if the students are not following the guidelines, what are the disciplinary actions planned at departmental level. So when it comes to the integration of the technology in the time to come, there are chances coming to the flexible kind of learning, teaching learning activities where no spoon feeding of information is. Why there is so? Because that is a demand from the student population. So we need to develop global thinkers. We need to uh, have more advanced information, maybe not as per the curriculum, but maybe as per the demand of the workforce. So that kind of things are there in an environment. That is why we are gradually for the promotion of online teaching learning activities at institute level. So when it comes to the use of online learning environment, what kind of learning environment? So as a teacher, I need to ask question to me that what kind of learning environment I want to create for my student, and what kind of learning environment provide a systematic experience for student. So there can be two probable choices available with the faculty. The very first one is the synchronous learning environment. So synchronous learning environment means when the teacher is present at the same time as the learner. The best example of synchronous learning environment in physical mode is the traditional classroom, where the teacher is going to develop the content in front of the student. Step by step formation of information is there, and it is very easy for the teacher to interact with the student, as you all were saying in the activity one, and it is also easy for the student to clarify their doubts if any. So synchronous learning environment means when the teacher is available with at that particular time, not only in offline environment, but in an online environment also, it is possible for us to create synchronous learning environments. If at present, we all are interacting with each other. So when I'm saying that we all are interacting with each other, say for example, in your group, if I select any of the candidates, say for example, if I said Mr. Ravi, Rishabh Thakur, or Nitika Jain, or Dr. Ajay Roy, or Dr. Sushil, it is possible for me to direct my participants. It is possible for me to develop any kind of interaction with my participant. At any point of time, you can also unmute and ask direct questions to me. So synchronous learning environment is possible for us to create by using online platforms also. So Google platform uh, to create synchronous kind of a learning environment. But at the same time, when I'm saying what is my objective to create this kind of learning environment for my student, that need to be very clear, because there are many barriers that are associated with this kind of an environment. So when I'm saying a barrier, the very first is it limit the flexibility of the learners, because all the learners, so maybe there are 235 participants in this particular program. So faculty, I need to engage this particular session. Maybe due to some physical problem, I am not able to there with you on the platform for this session. What will happen? You need to fix another schedule to arrange this particular session, because we have created synchronous learning environment. Faculty and student need available at a fixed time slot. All the students will work on the same time, but at the same time, we are saying that there may be variety of learners available with us. Their learning styles, their learning preferences may be different. So somewhere we limit the flexibility, we limit the diversity that is available in our classes. So a synchronous learning environment provided a minimum flexibility in terms of schedule. It provided a minimum flexibility in terms of submission of different activities and if the learners are not available and the recording facility is not available, not provided on that particular platform, there are great chances that if the learner is not available with us on the platform, he or she is going to miss that information. So the second kind of learning environment that we are able to create for our students is asynchronous learning environment, when the teacher is not present at the same time as the learner. So maybe a discussion forum the teacher, maybe a blog created by a teacher, maybe the teacher allowing the students to have research projects while interacting online in remote areas, maybe some online sharing apps used by the teacher. Another may be a self-paced MOOC course. In that particular case, the faculty or the coordinator may not be available with the teacher. So when it comes to the creation of asynchronous learning environment at institute level, there may be variety of media tools that is essential. So it is not only limited to audio video, but other technological aids are also essential for the creation of such kind of learning environment. And this environment is also associated with uh, different kind of barrier. The very first one is capacity building. So when we said capacity building, there is an advantage that flexibility is provided in these kind of learning environment. But when I'm saying flexibility is provided, so faculty member can work at their respective spaces. A student can attend these kind of courses, these kind of programs anywhere. Uh, but at the same time, at the part of student population or at faculty population, there need to have some sort of preparation. So when I'm saying capacity building skill, how you are going to design that environment, what kind of content you are going to give to your student, what kind of video recorded lectures are essential for the student to understand that information, how many times you are going to create interactions with your student. Maybe it's a physical kind of an interaction or online discussion that you have organized for your student. As far as student population is concerned, their capacity building means in terms of regularity. Regularity means whatever activity, whatever task designed by the coordinator of that particular program, how they are submitting those activities, and when they are submitting activity, what are the different efforts that is put in by the students for the completion of that particular activity. So when we said flexibility is provided to the faculty and to the student, at the same time, the professional training is required for the development of such kind of asynchronous learning environment. So schedule is provided by the teacher, but at the same time, the student need to follow that schedule. Even if it is a self-paced activity, there is a time limit for that particular activity. So learners become accountable for the submission of that particular activity. So when it comes to the use of asynchronous learning environment at institute level, that we need to understand is human gap. So when I'm saying human gap means in these kind of learning environment, personalized connection, it is very difficult to develop. So when I'm saying personalized connection, somewhere the human interaction is not available, not very open in these kind of learning environment. When is going to organize asynchronous learning environment, the work culture of the institute also need to be changed. So maybe one faculty offering a MOOC program, that faculty is working late at night, completing all the activities of that course, answering to the 100 different emails he or she received during daytime. So a bit flexibility in terms of academic and administrative responsibility need to be given to that particular faculty. So a change in work culture also is the major requirement. And most importantly, the kind of stakeholders. So when I'm saying the kind of stakeholder, your student population, are they ready for these kind of changes? If they're not ready, always start small. Once they become habitual, give them the response to create, they will start giving responses to this particular kind of an environment. So when we said synchronous learning and asynchronous learning, both kind of learning environment has their own barriers. So teacher need to consider all those before selecting that what kind of learning environment is most useful for my student. If not completely, what is the part of my syllabus that I'm going to cover by creating synchronous learning environment, and what part of my syllabus I will simply go on a physical mode, or what part of syllabus I'm going to cover by creating a synchronous learning environment. So mapping of information, mapping of the curriculum is must, whatever learning mode is selected by the teacher. So these are the two type of learning environment we are able to create. So we are able to create experiences. The one solution to these barriers, to overcome these barriers, may be the blended learning. At blended learning, with the help of blended learning, we are able to create experiences by blending both synchronous as well as asynchronous. So when we said synchronous and asynchronous both will act simultaneously, the question arises how to blend these kind of experiences. So by definition, when we said blended learning, it is not simply the integration of face-to-face learning or online learning. When we said blended learning, we need to think upon that what kind of facilities as a faculty available with me to blend two different modes of teaching, that is face to face and online teaching. So that need to be understood by the faculty. So the simple question that we need to answer is how synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. So any faculty ready with a response to this particular statement? Let me check the chat box also. PPT.
Good
Okay,
afternoon,
MS
ma'am.
Teams. Yes, sir.
Whatever we can teach in synchronous mode, we can share on WhatsApp or जो स्टूडेंट्स की मेल आईडी है उस पे मैम जो भी एक्टिविटी है वो हम जो सिंक्रोनस मोड में डिलीवर कर रहे हैं उसको हम ऑनलाइन उनको जो भी फैसिलिटीज अवेलेबल है स्टूडेंट्स के पास उस पे शेयर करके सिंक्रोनस एंड एसिंक्रोनस लर्निंग को इंक्रीज कर
To
सकते हैं.
promote कर सकते हैं. Yeah, thank you very much. But my suggestion is when it comes to transfer the information related to the subject, rather than using WhatsApp, go for a Telegram group. So that will provide you a variety of options to share information. Whereas when it comes to the use of WhatsApp, it can be integrated in teaching learning activities. Maybe you want to share a quiz form, or maybe share some directions to your student, or any kind of assignment that you want to share to your student, that can be done with the help of WhatsApp activity or WhatsApp group. When it comes to transfer information, you have to transfer the PDF of the content or the recorded lectures to the student. Go for a Telegram group that provide you another options also. But you're very accurate, sir. We need to find out the resources how that help us to have synchronization between synchronous and asynchronous learning environment.
Ma'am, good afternoon. I have some experience to share to you.
Yes, sir. May I know your name, sir?
My name
Because
is
there are
Dr.
number
Munawar
of
Hussain.
and it is very difficult for me to identify that who is interacting with us.
I am Director Dr. Munawar Hussain. I have this concept that when we are going to synchronize and synchronize methodology or pedagogy or the instruction method for to teach our the student in this manner when we are adopting the blended learning. So I think from the old time and still that those universities those are applying the blended learning. The first of all they have conduct the some contact program even though they are organizing the some blended program. So that is the very important. They have given the lecture method and whatever the pedagogy they have applied, and they have the face-to-face interaction to the student in the face-to-face classes. And even though already they have sent through the LMS and another type of media or on the apps they have sent the PDF and the content as you told just about it is okay. And we are also able to evaluate to them to apply of the different medium of the social media and different. But I think this is my conception about that we should not apply a lot of apps. We should be apply on the limited app, and that limited app should be given the proper training and sufficient time to understand all the student and also the faculty. Time to time if there is any modification in the application in the app, we have to provide to them the training and proper guidance for application. I think it is very important.
Thank you very much, sir, for your response. Very rightly added by you that this technology need to be selected, choice need to be selected as per the faculty attitude and the kind of information available with the student. So thank you very much, sir. So when it comes to club synchronous and asynchronous learning environment, very rightly added and shared by two of the participants, that yes, it is possible for us to club these two kind of resources. For this, we need to have some sort of training, some sort of information available with us. So when it comes to the preparation or the clubbing of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment, and in the initial phase of discussion of this particular session, we have discussed that students have more advanced information available with them, and that information is very with them. So at present, when I'm dealing with the topic in your class, you can also go to internet, you can go to YouTube and find out how many lectures on this particular title is available on the YouTube, and you can compare or you can contrast information that is given to me or by the other speakers for the same title. So, but when it comes to student population, so we all are matured enough, we understand that how the teacher is going to prepare for that information. The teacher is following the web resources or textbook references, but at the same time, when the information is available with the student in abundance, what kind of information is essential for the student to undergo? If information, there are 20 websites available for the given topic, how much time the student need to spend on that particular information? So the major problem that we are facing when it comes to of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment is the preparation of the learning material as per the demand of the student. So when I said using asynchronous environment, the institute or the department can map online resources available. Say, for example, for the diploma level student, if the course is available on NAPTEL, so it is not possible for that diploma student to understand the content delivered by that expert in the NAPTEL course. So a faculty from the department can tailor made that information and that information as per the level of the student, taking reference to from that particular resource. Another important thing that when it comes to the preparation of, if the teacher is preparing any content for LMS facility or to upload it on one site or another site, the teacher need to critically analyze what are the common error that is being created by class students again and again. So if there are very common errors and most of the time our students are creating the same kind of an error, what information I need to give to my student? Again, the tailor made content need to be developed for the student. When it comes to the schedule, in synchronous, teacher and faculty, teacher and student will be there available on the platform at the same time, whereas in asynchronous learning environment, the flexibility is given in terms of schedule. So the teacher can divide or give two kind of experiences to the class student. Few of the classes using a synchronous learning environment, maybe in a traditional classroom, and few of the lectures or few of the sessions by using online learning environment. So when the teacher is planning for the course or for preparing for that particular subject, the to be decided by the teacher beforehand, so that it is easy for the teacher to have the resources available at the time he or she needed. Another thing when it comes to the schedule, and if you are focusing more on asynchronous learning environment, so maybe the teacher is organizing one or two classes in a semester using synchronous, but more of the content is available asynchronous. Students are not matured enough. You need to fix physical meetings with your student if they are working online also. So university institution need to be have accountability that whatever move course, whatever online platform that we are offering to our student, we need to have a proper check that whether our students are able to understand that information or not. If they are not able to go through that particular information, we need to organize some of the classes by assigning one of the faculty from the department so that they can clear their doubts even when they are working in asynchronous learning environment. Third thing that we need to understand is in blended learning classroom is assessment. More and more formative assessments need to be there. So information resources are available with the student. You need not to spoon feed information. what we need to do as a faculty is we need to find out the web and give those web resources as a reference to the student. So when those web resources are available and students are working on the same web resources, all the students of the class working on same web resources, it means all the students are going to utilize the same amount of the time for that particular activity. So one thing, when we are planning for an assessment, we also need to provide web resources for the student, that from where you are going to get information. If not web resources, the teacher need to give some of references to the student, that these are the different resources from where you can collect information for the given activity. Whenever you as a faculty have a time, plan for interactions with your class student, so that help the student to create a human kind of interaction in those blended learning environment. So in synchronous environment, socializing is there because human factor is involved. When the teacher and students available online with each other, it is possible for the teacher to plan informal discussion. When the students are working online purely, human interactions are missing, but at the same time, by using the chat box, student can give an instant feedback to the faculty. Resources are much in asynchronous learning environment. There is variety of resources used by the student and by the for their own choice. But in asynchronous learning environment, somewhere the component of feedback is missing. So what are the different things the teacher is going to give that kind of a the student? So content, when it comes to the blended learning, or you are going to class synchronous as well as asynchronous learning environment, it is not only not simply the integration or blending of face-to-face learning or online learning, but at the same time, the content, the schedule, the assessment, the interaction need to be planned by the teacher. So these four parameters we all need to consider. Now the third question arises, how we achieve. First we done what we mean by blended learning. It is not simply the integration or not simply the clubbing of synchronous and asynchronous learning. Class synchronous and asynchronous learning environment, there are four different parameters that we need to focus: content, schedule, assessment, and interaction. Here I would like my own personal experience. I'm the module coordinator for module number 3 as per ACT NINET policy. That is communication skills, modes, and knowledge examination. So in these MOOC courses, many of the faculty members registered as per their requirement for professional growth, and they are not the students. Some of the faculty members having experience more than 7 years, more than 8 years. Policy guidelines are already published on their website, NINET website. Teacher know if the assignment they are not going to submit on time, the platform is not going to accept that assignment after the due date. Despite information available with the faculty, many of the faculty members are not able to submit assignment given to them in different online courses. They that there is one course they have registered. If email is not, due to any technical glitch, if email was not available with that particular faculty, the faculty will not bother to open that particular platform to know about what is happening in that particular program. So that the kind of accountability, the kind of responsibility the faculty members are taking when it comes to the use of asynchronous learning environment. That is why blended learning is a very good approach to be used for the student population, where can easily plan for interactions with the student. So content, schedule, assessment, interaction need to be followed by the teacher. The third question is how we achieve this. Sir, in the last discussion said we must need to have training when it comes to the uses of the technology. So when we said training, or when we said capacity building for asynchronous and synchronous learning environment is required at the part of the faculty and student. If I specifically talk about a faculty population, how to teach online, that need to be understood by the faculty. Say for example, at when I'm sharing information with all of you, if my PowerPoint is overloaded with the information, If for every bullet point I simply copy pasted information from internet resources, complete the full slide on what you are going to focus. Rather than my verbal explanation, most of the teachers are going to read the information that is given on those PowerPoint slides. So when we are teaching our students online, it is not only that in an offline but in online environment also, when we are dealing with our student population, we need to develop some sort of teaching skill. So there are variety of learners, styles are different, their learning preferences are different. So a different approach is different as compared to teach them in a traditional setting. Students are not responding, maybe my session is repeated, maybe that information is already available on XYZ platform, maybe my students are not for that particular activity due to some prior activity or prior assignment, maybe they are not in the mood of study today the concept with which I am dealing to. So I need to assess that how I'm going to teach to my student the information that is available with me. So we require some sort of skill when to be developed when it comes to develop or when it comes to give a structured kind of experience to our class student. So whenever the teacher is designing a classes, there is no fixed rule or no fixed formula. As per the choice of the learner or as per the quality of the learner available at institute level, the teacher need to take instructional decision. When you're planning for an online course, when you're planning for the content to be delivered online, the content need to be prepared as per the level of the student, but at the same time the personalized content need to be developed. So if I'm not available with my student and when the students are reading that particular information, they feel some sort of personalized connection that this particular concept or this particular content is written and designed specifically for me by my teacher. So some personalized feeling need to be there provide structured kind of experience to the student. The second major skill that we all need to develop is the communication skill. So what are the four basic skills of any member? What are the four basic skills of communication that we are using in our classroom environment? कौन से होते हैं four basic skills of communication? I hope I'm connected with all of you.
I think it's a verbal.
Okay, verbal. So when it comes to the four basic skills of communication, the simple answer is reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So these are the different skills that we are using in a classroom environment. In offline environment, it is possible for us to these skills of communication very effectively, but in an online learning environment, somewhere need to develop these kind of skills. When I'm saying reading and when I'm discussing about the content development, it need to be personalized by nature. So self-learning modules need to be developed for that particular subject. So maybe at departmental level, two or three faculty members can join together as per their specialization and develop a content as per the level of the students available in your class. So when the student reading that particular information, there is a self-learning module, what we are able to do after the this particular unit. Now, let us start with an example. So that kind of personalized reading experience we need to give to our student. Rather than giving a written assignment to the student, when it comes to the development of the writing skills, specifically an online and learning environment, take time. As a teacher, take time to construct your feedback message because on many of the online platform those feedback messages are the recorded information that you are going to give to your student. Write with respect always. So there may be different learners connected with you on the XYZ platform, but maybe after 1 month or after 2 months, when the lecture is available online, maybe there are 30 different individuals from different institutions who are listening to that particular information and writing the comments given by the previous students of your. Whenever you are writing, be respectful. Consider that student population as an individual identity. Take time to construct your feedback messages. When the students are displaying emojis in the chat box or any another expression, consider it as their non-verbal signs and non-verbal language to understand their feelings, to understand. So allow them to express the emotions also. Listening can be promoted in online learning environment. Always listen attentively. In a classroom environment, appreciative listening and critical listening also plays an important role. If you are not clear that whatever the speaker is saying, respectfully ask the speaker to repeat again. Be attentive all the time, specifically when you're connecting with us in online environment. When it comes to the speaking, your whole personality comes in picture. The content, the tone, the variety, integration of the media. So when I'm speaking, so for example, from the last 45 minutes, if I'm speaking continuously, it is not possible for me to carry forward this particular session in the next 20 minutes maybe. But when I'm engaging my participants, when I'm engaging my students in question answer, when I'm integrating small quizzes or activities within that particular session, it is interesting for them also. And as a faculty, it is also providing me a comfort of my personal space to collect my thought, to develop an explanation for the content given. So communication skill, reading, listening, writing need to be enhanced by the faculty in a blended learning classroom. Learning spaces, the teacher need to design, whether decide face to face or online. So when it comes to the face to face environment, the teacher is providing interaction, providing helping hand to the student within no time. But when they are available online, there may be isolation that the students are going to be feel. So it can be make interesting by the integration of technology in that particular environment. So as a teacher, we also need to understand that whenever we are going to use technology, there is a complexity maybe we are going to face when we are using technology classroom environment. So as an expert, we need to select that what technological resources is more specific as per the nature of my subject. And if my students are facing problem as far as the use of that technological resource is concerned, as a faculty, I need to have training so that I can help my student to use that platform or use that technological resource. As rightly added by in a previous discussion by sir, that there may be few technologies that is selected by the teacher, but teacher is in terms of uses of that technology, and teacher is also allowing the student to use all the features of that technology available with the student. So that a very good approach that we all need to be developed. Interaction is must with the student population because they are not matured enough. Many of the things they need to have information from the faculty. Now, the fourth question that we are going to answer in this particular session is how to blend effectively. अब तक हमने क्या किया है? Blended learning क्या है? How to club synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. So we are going to develop content. We are going to make a schedule at departmental level. We are going to finalize the various assessment activities that we are going to give as per the subject allotted to us, and what kind of interactions we are going to plan. Say, for example, at departmental level, you floated all the faculty members for different department floated one MOOC course. And on a given day, all the faculty members think of that today I must have a live interaction with my students. So maybe that much infrastructure is not available at department. So when we are planning for an interaction, we also must have a schedule. Teacher is going to plan for interaction with the different student. How to achieve it? A capacity building programs need to be there at the part of the faculty, at the part of the we need to have training when it comes to teaching online. Communication skills need to be enhanced by the teacher. Learning spaces need to be designed and created by the teacher. Those spaces also the interaction is an important parameters. So how we can increase the effectiveness of these kind of environment that are blended environment. So again, there are three different factors on which we are focusing upon. The very first factor is the readiness, second factor is intensity, and third factor is impact. So my next assignment to all of you is find out when we said what we mean by readiness, what we mean by intensity, and what kind of that we are going to evaluate. So I give you 5 minutes, all of you. At 3:46, we'll discuss that when it comes to the blending of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment, how you are going to prepare as per these three parameters. कैसी readiness चाहिए, what kind of intensity we require, what kind of impact that we are going to evaluate. All the faculty members kindly on these three important parameters. What kind of preparation is desirable at our part?
No, ma'am, not a question. We just like to discuss the answer with you.
Your good name, ma'am?
Dr. Aparna Tripathi.
Yes, ma'am. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
As I am understanding by these three questions that you asked about readiness, intensity, and the impact, the readiness means that how much we are ready for this blended learning as per the departmental level, as per the faculty point of view, and how much our students are ready to accept that blending environment.
Okay.
And by the intensity means might be that whatever applications or whatever interfaces we are opting, how much they are useful to convey the uh, uh, conveying, and how much our students are able to interact with that, they are actually taking those things. And impact means related to the assessment that what is the impact of my communication over the student, how much they are getting. So I think these three parameters are related with these things.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very rightly added by you. So many thanks, ma'am. Any another member who is ready with the information? So as rightly added by Dr. Arpana Tripathi, ma'am, when it comes to the readiness we need to evaluate or assess at institute level is the context in which we are teaching, the readiness of our stakeholder. So when I'm saying readiness of our stakeholder, and from the day one we are saying there must be integration of technology, the first readiness that we need to evaluate how many digital resources available with my student population, and if those resources are not available, is there any policy designed at institute level or at departmental level to provide free access to those resources to the student population. The second readiness that we need to have at institute level is the financial aid. How much the institute allow us, the institute management is willing to spend on the development of different infrastructure resources. When we said ready, as rightly added by Dr. Arpana ma'am, it is not only the teacher who need to prepare, implement and evaluate using the technology, but at the same time, the discipline of the learner, the commitments of the learner, the interest of the learners in different e-learning platforms, or the development of the different communities by the learner. Most importantly, when we said the commitment of the learner, regularity in terms of submission of task and activity. When we said readiness, institute support also covered under this particular title only. What kind of technical assistance available at institute level? Say, for example, if XYZ technology is not working, who is going to help the teacher? Teacher is here preparing for the information, developing the script for those online courses, for those online classes, the teacher is the person who is identifying the different kind of resources. But if at any in any case, if the technology is not working, what kind of technical support system developed at institute level, what kind of technical resources provided to the faculty of that particular institute. So technical readiness also comes into picture. What are the existing resources? What are the essential resources that we need to have? How many resources we can share with another institutions also? And readiness, most importantly, content, specifically in blended classrooms. So select the content. Content is already available in abundance. As a faculty, we need to select the content. We need to tailor made it as per the demand of the students. We need to use that content. We need to evaluate the impact of that content or information available with the student. And if required by the student population, we need to supplement that information again. So when we said readiness, context, financial aid, technical readiness, readiness of the teacher, readiness of the student, the institute support. So these kind of things we need to evaluate before started for blended kind of learning environment at institute level. And when we said readiness for our stakeholder, there may be cultural parameters also that we need to focus upon. Parents are not ready to give digital devices to the students. Parents are saying that students are using technology for entertainment purposes, not for education purposes. So their willingness, their readiness also need to be have for these kind of learning environment. When we said intensity, intensity of adoption. So we need blended packages to whom we can adopt fully. So maybe in the initial phase, when we are introducing these kind of advanced teaching environment or methodology for the students, we need to introduce technology in a very practical manner. So once the culture is developed, then we can use it fully. So initially start with a very simple, non complex kind of a technology. Prepare your students to use that technology. So maybe for assessment, I started with a small quiz, and then for the final evaluation for internal test, rather than giving a long, lengthy written paper to the student, I give specifically the quiz form or the Google Forms to my student to complete. But I develop that culture to go through the quizzes in a class. Once they become habitual, then I'm completely shifting my assessment practices in evaluation system also. At institute level, we also need to consider as a teacher what suits us. What is my comfort as a teacher? What our students like the most? So first thing, we as a human also need to find out that nowadays it is not only the human element that is essential in a class, but at the same time, non-human element also need to be introduced to the student. So rather than a serious learning, student nowadays more interested in gaming kind of thing, simulation kind of thing. So that kind of virtual experience need to be the part of the classroom environment only. So whatever technological resources you are going to conceive, develop those resources over the period of time, implement those resources. If those resources are working fine, then it is okay. If those resources are not working fine, we need to again apply those resources in a given setting after little modification or after little adaptation. So when we set intensity of adoption, slowly, gradually, we need to move forward for the technology. But for the faculty, as per the comfort and choice of the faculty can select an appropriate technology package. The second statement that we need to understand that how to blend effectively is the impact. So when I'm saying impact किस पे होगा? Evaluation for finalizing or evaluating the compact impact of any method or any media, we need to have evaluation. Evaluation means how many learning outcomes designed by the teacher, and up to the end of the semester or up to the end of the mid semester test one, how many learning outcomes we are able to achieve. Level of the student engagement with the technology. So it is as per the choice of the learner. Some of the learners want technology to be the part of the classroom. Some of the learners do not want or do not need any kind of technology. So it is as per the choice of the learner also. And we all know that the technology is emerging at a very fast rate. It is dynamic by nature. So as a teacher, we also need to be continuously develop in terms of technological skills also. So it is not only the pedagogical skills that we need to develop, but as a faculty, we must have training in terms of enhancement of our technical skills also, or technological skills also. So readiness in terms of context, in terms of finance, in terms of teacher and student commitment, in terms of institute role, and most importantly, readiness in terms of content and readiness in terms of culture. When it comes to an adoption, conceive, develop, implement, and then operate. Impact evaluation need to be there at institute level. It may be evaluation of your existing resources. It may be evaluation of your student performance. It may be evaluation of your teaching effectiveness. So all kind of evaluation need to be conducted at institute level. So learning is not mixed mode of teaching. It is not hybrid learning or technology mediated or enhanced learning environment. For a blended learning, we need to focus on complex adaptive blended learning model. So if you wish so, you can check this resource available online. So it is a very good research article on the blended learning approach. And in this paper, the writer explained all the aspects that are related to and helpful for us for the creation of blended learning environment institute level. So mainly the writer of this particular article divided blended learning as per the stakeholders available in institute: teacher, learner, content, the technology, or the learning support. So when we said the creation of the learning environment, academic environment and technical environment need to be considered by the institute. When we said technology, again depending upon what kind of academic environment you want to promote at institute level, whether it is an synchronous or asynchronous or combination of both. When we said combination of both, the content need to be prepared at institute level first. So this is a very first step when we want to initiate blended learning. You must be ready with the content. It is not the repeated information that we are going to provide to our student. We are going to integrate technology. Students are going to assess vast amount of information. So content must be interactive. It must be problem based. It must promote critical thinking skills. It must also promote individualistic learning. It must also promote collaboration among student population. The role of the teacher in this kind of environment is going to be changed. The teacher will act as a guide, teacher will act as facilitator. He may be the adaptive to that particular environment and become advisor of the student, and sometimes the teacher just need to act as a excuse me moderator in that learning environment. So at institute level, we need to think upon strategy by which we are adapt these resources, what kind of support system developed at institute level, what are the different services available or service department acting as a support system for the faculty as well as for the student, and what kind of infrastructure resources we are going to provide to the faculty and students so that they can have access 24 into 7 to all those kind of resources. What kind of flexibility you are going to introduce in your work culture, not only for the students but also for faculty who is going to do these activities at institute level. So these are the different things that we need to understand when it comes to the creation of the learning environment at institute level. So at the end, in a blended learning environment, what we need to have is we need to have a trained faculty, we need to have quality students at institute, we need to have the different learning spaces, flexibility in terms of the work culture, and technology development at the part of the institute. So these are the parameters on which we all need to focus upon before utilizing the blended learning approaches at institute level. So this is all from my side. If you have any question, you all are requested to kindly unmute and ask.